Hey, Katrina here from ScrappyHorses. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Wow, it is spring and time for some pretty spring papers. And our challenge over at Path of Positivity is to use 4 different spring papers. Yes, that is our April challenge. So, what I have done with my card is I have picked up just scraps from 4 different papers, and you can see them in my card, but I am going to pull up in Cricut Design Space some different pretty paper patterns. So let's get started. Here is my card, and you can see that this is one pattern right here. Then I have a pattern that is here. So this is paper number 2. This is paper number 3, and this is paper number 4. Now, if I come over and I bring in this, you can see this paper is actually this paper, and right here is the same as this paper right here. This paper with the pink and white stripe, it's variegated and it works into yellow. That's the same paper. So I really do only have 4 different pattern papers here. Let's take a look at how we put this card together in Cricut Design Space. And if you want to borrow my paper suggestions that are here, oh, by all means, go for it. You can also cut your own papers to these dimensions and come up with a really beautiful card also. This back piece right here, I'm going to start the way I always do, and that is with my card blank. This is actually 8 by 6 inches, and this is the fold line right here. So we have this one piece, it's actually 8 by 6 folded over, which creates 4 by 6. That's an unusual card size. And the reason I'm doing that is because I have a lot of envelopes that fit 4 by 6 cards. So I thought I need to start designing some of those. So you can easily adapt these dimensions, change them, and do it on a US traditional A2, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So let's start this first layer here, or the bottom layer that goes right on top of the card base. It measures 5.75 by 3.75. Let's come over to Shapes, left click, grab a square, left click, and let's make this square the size of our bottom layer here. Again, 5.75, 3.75. Okay, I have my rectangle, 5.75 by 3.75. Going to come over to Images, left click. Now I'm going to type in yellow gingham. So I have my yellow gingham choices, different sizes of gingham as well as different shades of the yellow. I believe this is the one I used before. I can tap these 4 dots, left click, and see that this is Marta. I'm going to go ahead and left click. And I believe that is the one I used before. Now, I'm just simply going to size this to a width of the same as my paper, which is 5.75. So I'm going to keep the lock here, make my width 5.75. I'm going to go ahead and bring this down. I'm going to select them both, align, center, and slice. That would be a left click with my mouse. And there's the first layer. I'm going to go ahead and delete this piece because I don't need that. And while I'm here, I'm going to duplicate this piece because I used it for the back of my inside layer. I'm going to just set that aside. I'm going to come up to Edit, left click, left click offset, sharpen up my corners, and instead of offsetting, I'm going to go to the left. I'm going to inset this. I'm going to take that now, going to left click on this gray square. I'm going to turn it the yellow. Now I'm going to come back to this yellow, left click, offset. But again, I'm not offsetting, I'm insetting. And I'm going to go much less this time. Apply. And I want that white. Next, I want to come in with the little girl. So here she is right here. She is Reading Girl Silhouette by Dibrush Studio. Again, she is found under Images. I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to take her, I'm going to turn her that same color of yellow. So I'm going to select her, left click, edit, left click, offset. Then I'm going to come in and let's just do it at about a 0.069. I want to round out my corners here and apply. I think I would like to fill in the entire background on this. So while it is still selected, I'm going to come over to Contour, left click. I'm going to hide all contours. Now I could have left, for example, that one open and this one open and this one open, something like that, and left this one closed. There are all kinds of things we could have done, but I think that's what I'd like to do. So I'm going to close them all and apply. I'm going to turn that white. Now, while that's still selected, let's go back. Let's do it again. So come over to Offset, left click. Make this one just maybe a tiny bit bigger. Keep the corners rounded. Left click, Apply. Let's turn that one yellow. Let's move this to the back. And now let's move the yellow one, which is right here. I'm going to select it over here. Left click, right click, arrange, and send to back. Now I simply come in, swipe over all of it, come back over to this right hand column, come down to flatten and left click. And there it is. Now it's time to bring in our types. Let's just bring them all in. Let's go to Images, left click. Let's type in Gingham tape. And now here are our choices. So here's the green, here's the blue, we've got the yellow. You know what I did is I just chose this one. And we have this color. I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to take all of those and I'm going to make them really small. Now what I did is I actually cut them all separately and glued them or adhered them onto my card. You can do that, or you can simply put them on by printing them on. It's totally up to you how you want to do this. But you can see that I just simply brought them in, brought my little girl to the front, popped her on the top, and there's the front of our card right there. And of course you can play with these and put them exactly where you want them. Now I did print spring on this. Let's pump this up a little. So the way I did that is I came to Text, left click, type spring. My font was BFC Skylight. So I select by double clicking spring, come up to here, which is my font right here. I'm just going to type in BFC Skylight, left click, and there it is. Close that. I'm going to bump all of this down just a little bit here. Bump that down just a little bit. Now I'm going to take all of this away. Just going to select those two. Let's open this up so you can see. It is the spring and the white. I'm going to flatten those. I'm going to send this to the back. Take all of this, send to the back, and there's the front of our card. So we have several layers here. We have our card base, which is the white. We have this layer, this layer, this layer. The card base, I would definitely cut on my paper slicer. This piece right here, just the yellow. If I have that yellow or I have Copics that I can color that color of a layer, I'm going to cut that on my paper slicer also. You're going to print and cut this plaid if you're going to use that. You're going to print and cut all of your washies, print and cut the little girl, and you're going to print and cut the spring. All right, let's look at the inside of this card now. Again, what I've done here is I've come in with this and I've made it the size 5 1/4 by 3.5. So let's come back and get our black piece. Let's make it 5 1/4 by 3.5. I'm going to bring it right into this, swipe over both, slice. Now I have the size of my inside card. I'm going to go ahead and delete all of this. We're going to come over, left click edit. We're going to left click offset. Again, we're going to inset. Let's square up the corner. Let's come in a little ways this time because this is the inside of our card. About 0.361, apply. I'm going to use this pretty blue, change the color. Now I'm going to inset this piece. It's selected, so let's inset that. This is a very, very tiny little piece here. 0.069, apply. Now I'm going to bring in this blue plaid. Now that I've brought this in, I'm going to close this. Going to make this a little smaller. Going to sweep over both. Slice. I can delete these. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to pull in another inset. So I'm going to come back up to edit, offset, but I'm really going to inset, square up my corner. I'm going to make this one really about right in here maybe, and apply. This one's going to be yellow. Again, I'm going to come over to offset, but I'm really going to inset, this time not very far. Apply. This one I want white. I take all of this and I'm going to center it. So I'm coming up to a line, left click, center. Now, if I want to, I can just do this all as one. What I would do probably is go ahead, scoop over these three, my two ginghams and my blue, and I'm going to go ahead and flatten this. Now I still have the yellow and the white separate. I'm going to bring this white down here, and here's my time to book an adventure. So let's grab some text. So come over to your left hand side, left click. We're going to type. Now again, I want to make some changes here. So let's bring it down here so we can see what we're doing. I would like to make the spacing different, and I also would like to change the font. Let's change the font first. So I'm going to left click Cricut Stands. Here's BFC Skylight still up. That was quick and easy. Now I want to come over to edit, left click. I want to change my line spacing, and I want to get it closer together, so we're going to space it down. Now I wanted to make it look like this, and not necessarily like this. So what I can do is I can ungroup this. So let's bring it right over here so you can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to come to select ungrouping. I want to ungroup 2 lines. Now I have this one and I have this one. All right. Now remember, if you want the font to stay the same size, you've got to move them at the same time. I'm going to bring this off. I'm going to set this where I want it. I'm going to take both of them. I'm going to make them smaller. Let's group them back up over here. Left click. Now they're in a group. I'm going to bring this over. Swipe over both of them. Let's swipe over both. Come to a line. Center horizontally. I want to leave some room to sign my name down here. Okay. So I might even want to come in and just choose this. I'm going to use the arrows on my keyboard, my up arrow, and just bump it up a little bit. Swipe over both, flatten. And there it is. So this will all print then cut. This piece will print then cut. I will cut this one myself on my paper slicer. Now you certainly could adhere all of this together, right? It just depends on what paper you have and the colors you have and such as to what you decide you want to cut yourself. All right, now we can move on to print then cut and cutting with your Cricut machine, slicing some paper at your paper slicer, and then we'll meet up at the craft table and we'll just put these cards together. Here we are at the craft table, and you can see I have all of my pieces cut. Here is my card base. Here are my little pieces that I cut. Now I cut this extra piece and it's a thicker cardstock. I'm going to stick that underneath it so it'll pop off the card front a little bit. Here's my sentiment for the inside, the paper from the inside, and this piece has a hole in it, but that's okay. I had used it before, so I'm going to go ahead and tape my pink over. Now I'm simply showing you there are those 4 different cardstocks, so I have all 4 of them represented for the Path of Positivity Challenge. All right, so first thing first, I'm going to cover up that hole, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. I'm using a little bit of adhesive as well as some Fabric-Tac. That gives me some wiggle room in case I don't get it straight. Now I'm going to come in just with my ATG and glue this right into place on the inside of my card. And now here's what I was talking about, coloring. I'm just simply going to color the outside, and that's going to give me the color that I want to match. So now I'm going to come in and adhere that with some ATG and just glue that right in. Next, I'm going to go to the front of my card. Here's another little idea for you. If you have it laid out and you love it, then just snap a picture of it, and then you can just lay it right next to your project and just copy it. Sort of like writing your own directions and then following directions. I'm putting these little pieces of paper in. They look like washi tape now, don't they? And I'm going to use my Fabric-Tac to glue them into place. Again, if I need to wiggle it around, I certainly can. I did not cut those on my Cricut. I simply cut them into strips and used some of those decorative scissors and cut the edges to look that way. I've colored up another piece of cardstock around the edge, and now I'm adhering my white front onto the yellow. I like the yellow border. I feel like it makes it pop off of the decorative cardstock that's behind it. Now let's come in and let's work with our little image. This is the piece that we print and cut. I'm putting it on top of the yellow. Again, I colored that with a Copic. Now I'm coming in with a piece that I cut extra. It's out of a heavier cardstock, and so it's going to sit up off of the card a little bit. So I'm just going to go ahead, adhere that in. I'm using a little Fabric-Tac over. Again, I can move it just slightly if I want to. Thanks so much for hanging with me to the end. I so appreciate your visit. Any comments or questions, leave them below. We'd always love it if you join us over at Path of Positivity Challenge. Love to see you there. Hey, have a great week. I'll catch up with you in the next video. Bye.